This is Dr. Barry Taff, and you're listening to the Paranormal Journal.
This podcast presents information based in part on theory and conjecture. The host purpose is to suggest some possible explanation, but not necessarily the only answer to paranormal phenomena. We have not yet begun to touch the surface into these supernatural occurrences. With that being said, welcome to the Paranormal Journal.
Hey, what's going on out there, everybody? Welcome to season 2 of the Paranormal Journal podcast. I want to thank everybody who's been downloading, listening, liking, loving, sharing, and talking about the Paranormal Journal podcast. I appreciate it. I love talking about this stuff. It's what I do. I wish I could do it for a living, but I love talking about the paranormal things that have happened to me in investigations and throughout my life. I think it's an interesting thing, and people really should know and get educated about what's going on. And if I can help people in any way, educating them a little bit, about what's going on with paranormal phenomena, I will. It's not like the movies, folks, that's for sure. A lot of times, you're just sitting in the dark and waiting for something to happen. It's kind of like fishing, you throw the bait out, waiting for the fish to come along and eat the bait. And that's basically what we're doing. We're sitting in a home in the dark most of the time, talking to ourselves, asking questions in the dark to ourselves. And sometimes you get a response and sometimes you don't. That's the weird thing about paranormal investigating is, when you have an experience or hear a disembodied voice or a door opens or these weird knocks or cold spots or static energy that happens. Sometimes a foul smell. I've only had that happen once. Which I'm going to talk into a bunch of things tonight about some of my own personal experiences in the last 20 plus years of paranormal investigating. And I tell you, it's been interesting. It's been an interesting 20 organized investigating about 23 years. It has been interesting. I want to tell you, folks, it's really been interesting. But we do have some pretty cool stuff coming up for us this month in March. March 15th is our debut on the American Paranormal Magazine. We are going to be the cover story on American Paranormal Magazine, which is very, very cool. We were nominated to be on that magazine. You can check it out online. You can go to AmericanParanormalMagazine.com and you can check out the article there. It's free for the first 15 days, and then you can purchase a copy of the magazine, which I'm going to purchase a couple copies of the magazine as well and help support their magazine publications and stuff like that. So it's a really cool thing, and we were honored to be a part of it and be on the magazine. It's nice to get some recognition in the paranormal field that we are doing good and we are helping people, and our clients, like I said, our clients do love us. We are there for them, and especially if children are involved, they're always a high priority for us is to be, very active in that case and make sure that no one gets hurt, children are safe, And it makes me happy to see that we are making a difference in the paranormal community, which is very cool, which is very, very cool. And like I said, we are part of the TAPS family, and there are TAPS family members all across the United States and all over the world. So if you need help, definitely reach out to the TAPS family. Go to their website. There's a TAPS family in every community around the United States, around the world. Go to the region that you need them, click on, and there'll be a paranormal group from the TAPS family. And all of the TAPS family members are background checked as well. So you don't have to worry about somebody coming into your home that may have a criminal background, because all TAPS family members are criminally background checked. And that is the stipulations to be a TAPS family member. You have to have a background check. All your members must be cleared of no criminal activity whatsoever. And I'm proud to be a part of that, because I think that is necessary when it comes to dealing with clients and families and children. I mean, you got to have good members, and we have very good members, and I'm proud of the guys that we have now, and girls. Erica is our new member. She's a female, and it's Don's daughter. I've known her since she's a little kid, and now she's all grown up, and she's a part of the team. That's how long we've been around. She was a little girl when we first started together, and now she's a mommy and has a kid, and it's really really weird. It's like getting old, man. Like, she's grown up and has a kid. I remember when she was young with my daughter, and we would go to haunted places just for fun and do like a haunted house kind of thing. And now she's grown up and has a kid, and my daughter's grown up. It's just weird. I'm like, damn, dude, we're getting old, bro. I told Tom, I said, we're getting old, man. Our kids are all grown up. Your kid has a kid. Mine, who knows when she's going to have one, but I'm sure she'll have one. And yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of things. We're going to be doing some Paracons. We're going to be doing the one in Pennhurst in May. I'm not going to be there, unfortunately, but a couple of our members will be there representing HAPS. And we have some of our merchandise that'll be for sale. Anna Manila will be there talking about her book, The Unholy Structure, which is one of our case files. And it's an awesome book. You should check it out. It went #1 on Amazon. It's been up at the top seller for quite some time now. And I got really great reviews, which is awesome, because we were a part of it. And it's about one of our cases. So it's very interesting that it went #1 like that. I was surprised. But in the same token, I'm proud of it. And all the things that happened in there are true. Things that happened to us that I talked to Anna about, and she referenced in the book, are true, and they happened. Which is really cool when you read a book and they're real events, and it's not a movie. And names and stuff had to be changed in the book for confidentiality. But mostly, I think my name is in the book. I know my name's in the book. But most of the other people in the book are their names have been changed. But I gave her full permission to put my name in the book. I tell you, it's been an adventure with this paranormal stuff, and it just keeps getting better and better. And the more you keep digging into it and putting your all into it, things work out for you. And you meet a lot of cool people. You meet a lot of people that ain't so cool. But that's just how it goes. That's life. And I don't hate anybody. I just keep doing my thing. I'm not going to talk smack about anybody in the paranormal field. It is what it is. You do your thing. I do my thing. And it is what it is. I mean, there's some things that I don't like that people do, but it's not me. So I don't really care. Good luck with, you want to do stupid things and do them. But one thing I won't do is I won't do anything like that in a case. Just not going to happen. I'm not going to use stupid equipment that doesn't work and things like that. I want to give real evidence to people, not something over an app or some of these equipment that's used out here that people are using is just ridiculous. I'm really not going to touch into it because I want to talk about ghost things, but yeah, I mean, some people are just totally irresponsible with this stuff, and it's it's getting more and more, I guess the ghost shows have really put a bug in people's head that this is how it's supposed to be, and it's really not how it's supposed to be. When you go into an investigation, you have to tread lightly what's going on because there are families involved. I'm going to take a drink of this coffee. It's morning time where I'm at. Man, that's good coffee. Daylight savings time, so hour forward. So we're going to have more daylight, which is awesome. It'll get dark at 5:30 in the evening now, so more daylight, more and more fun we get to have during the day. So, but back to just dealing with people in general and in investigations is very important, and you have to tread lightly with it. You can't just go into a case and be provoking and doing stupid things that could ultimately hurt the people that are living in the home and increase activity. I know as investigators, you want to gain a response to something that's going on in the house, but you in the same token, like I said, you have to tread very, very lightly, especially if there's children involved. You definitely don't want to see a child hurt behind some kind of phenomena that maybe you invoked or provoked. So just be careful out there. If you're out there, you're just getting into paranormal things, just be careful what you're doing. Definitely be mind wise that these things can follow you home. There's people do say there is protection to these things, that there, you can do certain things to protect yourself so these things don't follow you home, but I don't seem to think so. But other people might say so. This phenomena we're dealing with is totally unexplainable and unpredictable. So to say we can have a remedy for something that we really can't explain, I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me to say that I can get rid of something or I can use something to get rid of ghosts or this phenomena, because we really don't understand it fully at all. I mean, like I said, this stuff is totally unpredictable, and when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, you never know. You really don't know. If something follows you home, you can't see this stuff. You can't see these things, but could it get in the car with you and follow you home? It's possible. I've had some really, really weird ass things happen in my own home since I've been doing this. It's not all the time, but it is. It has happened, and it does happen from time to time. Sometimes it'll freak you out a little bit. You'll be sitting there and hear like knocking on the door. You go to open the door, nobody's there. Knocking on my bedroom door, knocking on the walls. I even heard disembodied voices in my home. At certain points in time, I've heard a couple voices and tried to play it off to my wife that it was a computer. And we had heard a male voice one time. She goes, "What was that?" And I'm like, "It was just a computer." But I told her I left the computer on, but the computer wasn't on. It was a disembodied voice in our family room, and I'm just like looking around. I'm like, "Oh shit, that was a disembodied voice." And I never thought that these things could follow you home, but they do. In one instance, I had done something to the speed on my recorder, and I was trying to fix the recorder. And so I was just asking like standard questions I would ask, in a paranormal investigation. So I asked, is there anybody here that would like to communicate? That's exactly how I asked the question. I said, is there anybody here that would like to communicate? And I was checking the speed, and the speed was all good, but I heard something in the recording, and I didn't hear at the time when I said that. So when I get to the part where I said, is there anybody here that would like to communicate? You hear, when I get to the part where it says, is there anybody here? You hear a voice go, yes, over my voice in a sentence. And it freaked me the hell out. I was sitting in my family room, and I'm like, did I just hear that? Like, that sounds like a voice. And I cranked the recorder back. Sure enough, it's a male voice saying yes. And I was freaked out. I'm like, oh man, something done followed me home. So at that point, I'm like, well, I'm not going to keep addressing whatever this is, because now I'm giving it attention. So I stopped kind of doing what I was doing, asking questions, and I just went about my daily business, and I never got bothered again by it. But I do hear things from time to time, but it's very small things. And these things, like I said, they can follow you home. It is a danger of what we do paranormal wise. You really have to be careful. There are these things that we can't explain. And I'm going to get into that tonight about some of the things that I've had happen to me in investigations. And one recently, 2 weeks ago, we did a case in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Very, very cool case. It was alarming because there was children involved, 3 children, and the smaller children were experiencing paranormal events in their bedrooms. They were seeing figures of a man. From what she explained, there was a man. This girl was 8 years old. She was seeing the face of a man beside her bed with no eyes. Like the eyes were dark. The mouth was like kind of gaped open, kind of like the scream. She said the face was white, kind of. It looked like a dead person, basically, what she said. But she could tell it was a man, and it would be beside her bed, and it would freak her out. And then she would see it going down the hallway, and it was just a multitude of things that was very alarming for a small 8-year-old girl to see and a 3-year-old to see in the room, in their bedrooms while they're sleeping at night. So, we came in and we started investigating, and I did a podcast on this episode already, but I'm going to elaborate on something that happened to me in the bedroom just as a personal experience, and I did capture it on audio as well. I'm in the 8-year-old daughter's bedroom, and me, Bill, and Tom are in there. And meanwhile, we did hear some growling noises throughout the night, which was really strange. I heard it twice, and Bill had heard it a separate time, and Tom heard it a separate time when they were by themselves. And so I'm in the room, and I'm standing where she said she's seen this figure. I'm standing in the exact spot, and I'm asking some questions. Can you do this? Can you do that? And Bill was talking about the balloons were moving or something in the room. There were some balloons, and we had turned the heat off because the heat was making a lot of noise. And all of a sudden, I hear this static in the recorder, and I'm plugged in live. They call it live EVP. I call it plugging in. I did live EVP way before it was called live EVP. I mean, probably been plugging in for 20 plus years. But I hear what sounds like static, and then I hear a voice in the static, and all of a sudden I feel this staticky charge on my left arm, and all the hair on my left arm is standing straight up, and my right arm has nothing. I said, "Look at this, guys. Look. And I shine the light on my left arm. I said, "Now I just heard static in the recorder, and I heard a voice through the static, and now all the hair standing up on my left arm." It was a totally weird event that I never ever had happen before. I've never had that happen before, and I've been touched by things and poked by things, and but I never ever had that kind of feeling. And it reminded me of a time that my good buddy Don, and co-founder of HAPS, we were in a case when we first started. It was actually for the episode of the Haunted. We were on the Haunted on Animal Planet, and we were filming in the house, just documenting things that were going on. And we had the dog. The dog was in the house, and the homeowner, and one other investigator, Amy, and we started to experience this phenomena in the bedroom. We were all in the room. The dog was in the room with us, and all of a sudden the dog started looking toward Don and growling and barking. Now, meanwhile, the dog we're not new to the dog. We had been investigating for over a year in the home. The dog knew us. The dog loved us. The dog had actually been to my house a few times. as the homeowner went on vacation, and I kept the dog at my house. So the dog loved us and never growled at us, never barked at us. It was a really friendly dog. He was a boxer, and his name was Leroy. So we're in the room. All of a sudden, the dog is growling and looking at Don and growling. And then he starts to bark, and he gets very, very uneasy. And he's looking at us, and he's looking at Don, and he's growling, he's barking, and he backs out of the room and goes into the hallway. And he doesn't want to come back into the hallway, but Don's like, dude, there's something standing beside me. I don't know what it is, but there's something beside me. And he's like, all of a sudden, he's like, whoa, my God. And I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, man, there's some kind of staticky charge went right through me, man. He goes, I don't know what the hell that was. And it kind of went around the room like a horseshoe shape to each person in the room. Every one of us started being affected by whatever the static was. And I remember the girls were like, oh my God, we feel it on our legs. But when it got to me, it felt like a spider web kind of casted on my head. Because I have a bald head, so it kind of felt like a spider web was casted on my head. And I'm like, whoa. And it was cold. It was really weird. It was a totally weird ass feeling. And the dog backed out. He wouldn't come in the room. We finally coaxed him back into the room. And he came in the room, but he was very, very uneasy after that. And whatever was in the house was definitely affecting the animal as well, which animals are a big, big alert system to paranormal phenomena. If you have a cat or a dog and they start looking off into something that's not there and barking and hissing and growling and stuff, you might have something paranormal going on, because a dog or a cat can really sense this phenomena. I don't know how they do it. I guess because their senses are a lot more heightened than ours, but they definitely pick up on the phenomena. It's crazy. I've seen it happen more than once with dogs. I wish I had a dog that could be trained to pick up paranormal phenomena, but how do you train a dog for paranormal phenomena unless you really live in a haunted house? And you could train it somehow, but they do pick up on, these animals do pick up on phenomena. It's insane. How they do it, I don't know, but they do it. And that was just like reminding me of that case. And I'm like, Don was right. There's some kind of staticky electrical charge with some of the phenomena that happens. And it's not only electrical, it's EMF as well. EMF is electromagnetic fields. It's electrical too, but EMF, sometimes you get, say you have like in a couple cases we've done, I had an EMF detector. Now we did EMF detector and I had a K2. We had them both, and they were both picking up stuff at certain locations. And then at one location, there was nothing. There was no EMF. There was no, we weren't getting anything on K2, which is EMF detector as well. K2s are EMF detector as well. They pick up electromagnetic fields, but we weren't getting anything. And all of a sudden, our K2 had spiked up, and we got a huge EMF reading as well. And right after that, we heard a disembodied voice. And that was like one of the first cases we had Tom on, and he was a new member, which Tom is our case manager now. Tom Muller, he's our case manager. And he was like, whoa, that was a voice. I was like, yeah, that was a disembodied voice. And he's like, that was crazy, man. It was totally crazy. I said, yeah, but did you notice we got a huge spike in EMF at that time? I was like, nobody has their phone on them, do they? Because cell phones will affect your EMF devices. If you get a text, or say you have your phone in your pocket, and it'll transmit out a long way and affect your stuff. Even two-way walkie-talkies and stuff like that, if you're using them in a case and you're in a basement and you hit it, someone up on another floor, it'll make your REM pods go off. It'll make your EMF detectors go off. So you really got to be careful using this kind of stuff in investigations. I try to tell all my people to leave your phone, in your car, or, go out and check it later, because all these things will affect these devices. And some people will think it's paranormal when it's really not. You really have to be careful when you got cell phones and stuff like that. Two-way radios, all that stuff will affect paranormal equipment, especially EMF detectors and K2 meters and things like that, REM pods. All this stuff will be affected by these signals. And you got, like I said, you got to be careful. You don't want to claim something that you can't prove. So if you're doing that kind of stuff, you might want to stop doing it because it's a false positive, basically. So in a lot of our cases that I've done over the years, there's been some really, really creepy ass things that have happened that I've heard. Then I'm guilty of doing some really dumb things early in my years of paranormal investigating because I didn't know any better, like provoking. I never really provoked in a house with children, but I have provoked in a house where people moved out, and I got some really, really strange ass responses and activity behind provoking. I'm definitely pissed off whatever was in the house, and it responded audibly. It was creepy as shit. I'm provoking and I'm cussing at it and trying to elicit a response, and all of a sudden, you know, this freaking weird ass moan kind of like just emanates through the wall. It's like, ooh, it freaked me the hell out. I was like, holy shit, what did I just do? Why did I do that? And I looked over at Amy and I'm like, did you hear that? She's like, yeah, that was weird. I'm like, damn right, it was weird. I said, I definitely pissed it off. That's for sure. And from that point on, we started to have a lot of phenomena in the home. And that was like one of our first cases as a real team that we conducted that I was totally blown away and never expected to have that kind of activity happen. And we did, which was really, really pumped me up to investigate even more. But the phenomena we had was crazy. I mean, drawers were opening up, and this thing was really, really intelligent. It would open drawers, and we would have cameras in certain places. And we didn't have a whole lot of equipment when we first started. I had maybe like 4 cameras that I bought off of eBay, and they were really shitty cameras back then. I mean, camera systems really sucked back then. The definition, there was no high definition. It was just shitty 720 camera systems. They were junk. But we had 4 cameras, and this house we went to didn't even have power. We had to run a generator to even get power to the cameras. So we were limited in power and limited in equipment. We didn't really know what the hell we were doing at first. We were just doing it. Like I said, we spent a lot of time on the Gettysburg battlefield, me and Don. We just wanted to get our group out there. We just wanted to get something together. We got tired of basically investigating the battlefield, and we started a group, and that was our first case as a real team. It was amazing some of the stuff we had happened. I couldn't explain it. We were hearing these weird snapping noises and like someone snapping their finger in your ear. This digital sound and stuff that was in the house, and there was no power, and it was these bangings in the attic, like there was someone in the attic, and there was nothing in the attic. The attic was empty. It had a few paint cans in it and a big roll of carpet, but there was like pounding going on in the attic, and we had a bunch of responses that we did catch on audio, but whatever was in the house was highly intelligent. I mean, it was definitely nothing that was kind of like a residual kind of haunting. It knew where our cameras were, and it would do things out of range of the cameras where you couldn't see it. So we had a camera in the living room where they experienced some things, and in the back room where they experienced some things, and we started hearing things in the kitchen. It sounded like drawers were opening and closing, because we had audio ran from the house to my work van. You could hear things in the kitchen, like drawers opening and closing, boom, cabinets opening, boom, shutting. And I'm like, there's stuff going on in the kitchen. So we moved the cameras. We moved the camera system in the kitchen to see if we could capture these drawers opening and the cabinets opening. You could hear them in the audio, but we couldn't see them. But we had moved the cameras. And as soon as we moved the cameras, there was something happen where the cameras weren't. I'm like, damn, this thing is really smart. So we had a camera in the attic, and at one point in the attic, the camera I had took a screw gun and I screwed the camera to one of the joists in the attic, the wood joists, and it was really, really tight. Like, it took a lot to move the camera. And we're in the van and we're watching the camera system. Just, we had been in for an hour, and we would come out for an hour, let the house kind of cool down and settle and see if things would happen while we weren't in the home. And sure enough, we're about 20 minutes of sitting in the van, and me and Don are watching the cameras, and the attic camera pans down like something. You can see the camera start to shake, and all of a sudden it pans down real fast. And I'm like, what the hell? And then it pans back up to the original spot. And I'm like, dude, how the hell did that happen? And he's looking at me. I said, that camera's tight. He goes, yeah, I know it's tight. I was like, there's no way something pulled on that camera down and then put it back in the same position. I'm like, it was just me and him there. There was no other investigators. Me and him. There was no one in the home. It was interesting. And when something like that happens, it kind of puts you in a state of mind like, okay, this is no longer claims of paranormal activity. There is paranormal activity going on. It kind of puts you on the edge of, there's definitely something in the home that I can't see. The people moved out of their home. The house was completely vacant. There was nothing in it. There was no furniture, nothing. There was no power, no water. Everything was shut off. They had moved out, just totally walked away from the home. And they had just bought the home. They only lived in it a couple of months, and they started experiencing all this paranormal phenomena, and they moved out. And what happened was the wife was assaulted by an unseen force as she got out of the shower. She was actually naked, and something smacked her on her rear end, on her ass, and it freaked her out, man. She kind of was, how women kind of put their hair in a towel. She kind of bent over, put her hair in a towel. So she was bent over, something smacked her. And it was in this far bedroom, where her third bedroom was. So I was kind of focused on that room throughout the investigation. And that's where we're hearing these snapping noises, like someone snapping their fingers. And at one time, me and Dom were in there. And I'm kind of provoking it. I'm like, come on, do something. I said, we're not a woman, come smack us, do something. Just being stupid and provoking. And I'd already provoked once and got a really, audible response. And I figured, well, I'll just do it again. Maybe something else will happen. And sure enough, they had the only thing that was left in the house was a huge shoe rack that draped over the door. And that shoe rack came off of the door and slammed down like 3 feet behind me. It was about 3 or 4 feet behind me. And I'm going to tell you what, folks, it scared the living shit out of me. I jumped, and I'm like, what the hell? I jumped across the room over there where Don was at, and I'm like, click the flashlight on, and that freaking shoe rack is just swaying back and forth on the door. I'm like, holy shit, dude. That thing was right behind me, and I'm provoking it. I'm provoking this thing, and it slammed that thing down like to say, hey, cool it out. I can do this, and it slammed that goddamn thing down. It scared the hell out of me. I mean, I jumped at least 3 foot off the ground. I was like, holy shit. My heart was going 1,000 miles an hour, beating out of my shirt. And I'm just in this room. Like, I looked at him. I'm like, it is definitely in here with us. And we couldn't see a thing. There was nothing there. We could not see anything. We had our lights on. We had everything on that we could possibly do to see this thing, and we could not see anything. It was weird. And then we started experiencing this banging in the attic. It's like this loud banging, and it was responding to what we were asking it to do. We were like, can you bang? Can you give us a bang and let us know you're here? Boom, you hear a bang in the attic. Can you do it again? Boom, boom. Two bangs. Can you do it again? Boom, boom, boom. Like, I mean, it was nuts. Some of the stuff we experienced in there for our first like real legitimate case together was freaking amazing. I mean, I've been blessed with some of the stuff that we've had happen over the years. And if Don was on the show this morning with me, he would tell you too. I mean, some of the things we have had happen have been phenomenal. I think we've been really lucky. And like I said, we do most of our investigations are residential. It's not this, go pay to investigate a place or something like that, which a lot of paranormal groups do. They go to all these places that have been on TV and they're investigating them, and they are haunted. These places are haunted. There is legitimate paranormal activity there. But if you think you're gonna go there and see something, it's kind of far and in between. Like I said, 20 plus years of investigating. You know how many things I've caught on video that are actually amazing? Like two, two folks in the last 20 plus years. So that goes to show you, you have to be at the right place at the right time. These things don't happen on command. When they happen, they just happen. It's sporadic. It's unpredictable, and to see a full bodied apparition or a black mass or a shadow is it's an amazing thing when you see it. But you're not always going to see that. I know people go online and they see all the paranormal groups and they see them all in these locations and these paranormal events and things like that. But for us, for me, and for my team, it's investigating residential cases, and we're established very, very well in it, and we get a lot of hits on our website. People needing help, and we try to help them the best we can. We don't say we can get rid of ghosts because we can't get rid of ghosts. How can you get rid of something that, one, you can't see, two, we don't understand completely? We know there's this phenomena, but to understand it's very difficult. We do know it's there. We kind of know, it can manipulate electrical things, electronics, and things like that. It can throw off static energy. It can create cold spots, which is pretty amazing in itself. How something can create a cold spot, because anything we do in life and nature, just touching something, it produces friction, which produces heat. It doesn't produce cold. So how these things drop the temperature and drop in the atmosphere is pretty amazing. And sometimes you encounter foul smells, which I've only encountered one time in all my years of investigating. Just once. One time I've experienced foul smell in a house, and I've investigated hundreds of homes throughout the years, and I mean hundreds. So, like I said, some of these phenomena is far and in between when you have it happen. I mean, you can sit in a house all night and nothing really personal happened to you, but when you go back into your recordings and you start, listening and watching things, and like I said, you don't get a whole lot of things on video, but you do catch a lot of things audibly with these newer recorders, and some of the older technology is awesome as well. Like I said, there's Panasonic DR60s or whatever. These things catch an amazing amount of EVPs. They're really shitty recordings. The audio on them is really shitty. Nothing compared to the audio that we have today, but some of the stuff you catch on them is amazing. I've been in a room with someone had that same recorder, and I had a newer version of Olympus or a Tascam or a Zoom, and we asked a question, and my recorder caught absolutely nothing, and their recorder caught a name. We asked, "Can you tell us your name?" We didn't hear anything, nothing, not a sound. And he played his Panasonic back, and this thing's a Panasonic from the 80s. It's a real piece of shit. Like, these things are junk. And it captured some amazing voices, and it said a name. We were in a room, and it said Richard Margram, and my recorder picked up nothing. You could hear nothing. It was just quiet, and I'm like, how in the hell did your recorder pick that up and mine didn't? I said, my recorder is way more sensitive. It's something in that older technology that somehow this phenomena can use it and imprint a voice on it. How the hell? And it's got to be something magnetic or something like that, because the older tapes are have magnetic strips in them and magnetic components, and even the old analog tape decks. You can get some really cool stuff on analog tape decks. The old sliding cassettes, and try it. I mean, I've tried it and it works. I always thought that this was some bull, that it doesn't maybe it's overlapping recording devices, when you're using, especially when you're using old cassette tapes, you think maybe that you're talking on there is somehow bleeding over into a recording. And that's what I thought for a long time until I started using brand new tapes when I first started, and I was catching voices on it, and they were brand new. I'm like, that's impossible. I would just leave it in the house running and anybody be in the house. There would be no one in the house. And I would catch EVPs, these voices on the recordings, and there was no one in the house. So there's no way the recording could have bled in, a voice that someone's talking into could have bled into their recording. Very, very interesting stuff. And there's been so many different cases that I've been on that are really memorable and stick out that kind of put me on edge. And it was a little frightening, to be honest, because I didn't understand what the hell was going on. I did not understand it. And one case I did was in New Cumberland. This was totally, totally freaky. I'm once again, and this had a kid in it, and me being the amateur that I was, and not knowing, I kind of provoked it a little bit, because it was messing with the son. And I said, you like messing with this little boy, come mess with me, say something to me, do something to me. And I'm being really firm and kind of belligerent. And, the next thing I know, I hear a voice in the recorder. Now, the people in the room with me didn't hear it out loud. They heard it through my headphones. What happened was I said, come on, do something, make yourself known, make your presence known. I'm really provoking like a total idiot. And I hear this in the recorder itself, like this, like really loud. And I mean, it scared the shit out of me. I threw my headphones off, threw them on the ground, and they were like, everybody in the room was like, what the hell was that? And I was like, you heard that? I said, did you hear it out loud? They said, no, we heard it through your headphones. And I'm like, oh, wow. So they didn't hear it out loud, but they heard it out loud, but they heard it through the recording device. They didn't hear it in the room itself. So whatever it was, it focused all its energy into that recorder, and it made that noise, that whoa. It was like someone just yelled into the recorder. And I'm telling you, man, it scared the shit out of me. I threw the headphones on the ground. I'm like, yeah, turn the lights on. We turned the lights on, and I sat on the kid's bed for like 10 minutes, like, what the hell is in this house, man? It was freaky. And it was like one of the first cases where I'd actually seen a light anomaly, and some really strange shit happened in the house. Me and Don did a preliminary walkthrough of the house, and just talking with the client. We're getting to know the client, and we come out and do a preliminary investigation, talk with the client, get the lay of the house, talk about their experiences in the home, and we document all this stuff. And as we're talking with her, she's standing where her bedroom is now. They had a door that was just taken off the hinges, and it was leaning against the wall. And as I'm talking to her, me and Don are talking to her, we see the door come off the wall. Now, the door had a lot of lean on it, but the door comes off the wall and just smacks this lady right in the back of the head and pins her to the floor. And we're like, what the hell? She had a cup of coffee in her hand. She spilled coffee on me. She spilled coffee on Don. And it was hot. By the way, it was hot as hell. And so we're trying to get the door off of her. And the door felt like it was like 400 pounds, man. It was so heavy. And we're like, we can't get the goddamn door off of her. We're trying to pick the door up. And finally the door, it frees up, and we get the door off of her. And I grab the door, and the door is like one of these really cheap cardboard kind of doors, like compressed bullshit. It's not a solid door. I mean, you can lift it with one hand. And I picked it up and I set it against the wall where it was. And I looked at Don. I'm like, dude, is it me, or did that door feel like it was like 400 pounds? And he's like, it felt like there was somebody on the door, like holding the door on top of her, because she was on the ground. And we were both looking at each other in amazement. I'm like, what in the hell? So we got her up off the floor, And we sat her down at the dining room table, which was right there. And we started to have these really weird ass paranormal events. Would sound like a big ass dog under the table growling like, roar. I mean, it was freaky. And I looked over at Don, and I'm like, "You hear a dog or something?" And I'm like, "You just have a dog?" And she's like, "No, we don't have a dog." I was like, "Do you hear that growling noise?" And it was really loud. I like looked under the table because they had a tablecloth. I pulled the tablecloth up and looked under the table, and I'm like, "Holy shit, there's not a dog under there. What the hell was that?" And next thing you know, there's some shaking going on in the corner of the room. Like these boxes started to shake like really violently at first, and then it just stopped like all of a sudden. And we're like looking at each other like, what the, is going on, man? Like we're just here to do a preliminary thing, and all this activity's happening. I'm like, this is going to be interesting. And this is crazy. Like we're experiencing all this phenomena. We don't even have a camera going yet. And this was a few minutes into the just talking with them. And, of course we get the cameras out and nothing happens, of course. And we're like, shit, nothing's going on now. So we set an investigation date, and we came back, and we definitely experienced more phenomena in the home. Light anomalies on 2 different occasions where I actually captured them on film. Amy caught one on a handheld. We were just sitting there, and she seen a arc of light in the kitchen. And she goes, "I just seen a light." And it's very cool. She caught it on night vision. And then I had a full spectrum camera set up in the son's room. And we see a streak of light just go vertically from the floor to the ceiling. It happens very fast. It emits its own light. It's a really cool light anomaly, light phenomena. And it's definitely not dust. Like you'll see a lot of stuff on TV that's dust, and people claim it's ghosts, but it's really just dust bouncing off of the lighting system, the IR system, and they'll see it go zipping by. "Oh, you see that? That's a ghost." No, a real light anomaly will emit its own light. It transfers light, like you can see it in the dark. It's like a ping of light, almost like someone took a picture in the dark. But these things, you'll see them and they'll move. They'll illuminate the walls. They'll illuminate the floor. I mean, they're amazing. And I've seen them on quite a few cases. And every time you see them, it's definitely associated with paranormal phenomena. And the house is definitely active with paranormal phenomena. It's pretty amazing. If you see one in the dark, it'll amaze you. Some of the ones I've seen they've been amazing. This amazing and incredible. I seen one at Landon House the size of a softball in the middle, and I wasn't the only one to seen it. 4 other people seen it with me, and they were clients of ours. They wanted to go to see the Landon House, and I took them there, and we experienced this light phenomena, this ball of energy that was unfreaking believable. And of course, I don't have a camera, of all places. We were just doing an EVP session, and one of the people, the Cook family, which they'll say their name because they've been on my show before, but they're super cool. Their house was haunted, and they came with us. They're a super cool family, very, very nice family. And they were there and experienced this light phenomena with us. And actually, I think the son seen it first. He's like, "What's that down the end of the hallway?" And I'm like, "What is it?" This is a ball of light, like, I don't know, the size of a softball or something. It's right in the middle of the hallway. And I'm like, "Huh?" So I kind of step out into the doorway, and I look down, and I'm like, got my hands on my knees, and I'm bent over looking down. And sure enough, there's a ball of light in the middle of the hallway. And it's about the size of a softball. Biggest light anomaly I've ever seen in my life. And it was amazing. I'm like watching it, and I'm like, what the hell is that? When I said that thing got big. It got the size of a basketball. It was huge. And we're all like, "Oh my God." I mean, this place was so haunted. There was so much phenomena going on in this place. And it got the size of a basketball, and then it just sunk back into itself and just disappeared. We were like, what in the hell was that? And I'm like, why do I not have a camera for this? I was like kicking myself in the ass. I'm like, I do not have a camera on this. This was one of the most amazing light anomalies I've ever seen, ever. And I mean ever, in investigating. I've seen little pings of light, but this was a huge ball of energy. It was amazing. I am not kidding you. And I ran down the other end of the hallway when it disappeared, just to see if there was, make sure there was no one there that had snuck in or anything. Went down, checked the doors. All the doors were locked. There was no one else in this place. And I'm telling you, that place was freaking super haunted, man. There was so much activity in that house. There was not one time I ever went into Landon House and not had major activity. It's too bad that it's privately owned now. I mean, it was privately owned before, but the owner, I was good friends with the owner, and he would allow me to go into this place, this historic mansion, and God, it was so haunted. It was so unbelievable. And the book, the Unholy Structures, based off of this case as well. Beautiful mansion. It was so gorgeous, but so incredibly haunted. And oh my God, I wish I could get. I had that place for 5 years to myself, maybe close to 7 years. I had it for a long time to myself, and I did a lot of paranormal investigations there. And I'm telling you, the phenomena that I had occur in that place was off the charts of any place I've ever investigated. And I've investigated a lot of places, but the phenomena that I experienced there was off the charts. Disembodied voices, whistling, shadow people, footsteps, banging. It had the whole trifecta of paranormal phenomena. I mean, if you wanted to go to a haunted house and experience something really cool, that was the place. It was nothing to hear disembodied voices. You know, you walked in a hallway and something would call your name out loud, and you're just like, whoa, this place is super creepy, but nothing ever bad. There was definitely a lot of spirits in the home. It was a Civil War mansion, so, you know, built in 1754. 1754, man, that place was so freaking old, and it's incredible. It had great vibes in it. It was creepy, but it wasn't to the point where you were scared. I was never scared. Now, there was a few times when I went in there at night, and I cut it short because it was kind of like, you get that feeling like, it just doesn't have that good vibe tonight. You know, there was weird things going on, but it was kind of like they wanted to be left alone. You know, it's like one of those times like, yeah, let's just call it a night and get out of here because you just get this weird vibe. And you would leave. But the other nights you would go there and feel basically fine. Nothing crazy, nothing, you know, feeling bad. But there was an occasional time where you would feel like they didn't want you in the home. They wanted to be left alone. And I would give them that space and I would leave. I would get that feeling. And you would get it. You would get this weird feeling and you would say, yeah, I'm going to get the hell out of here because it just doesn't feel right tonight. Like they don't want to be bothered. And I would leave. I would give them the respect that they wanted and I would leave. And I'm telling you, some of the stuff that's happened is incredible. Here's just the tip of the iceberg of some of the stuff I've experienced in these cases. And I'll give you another example. It was the case I did. These are the cases that really stand out to me. It was in Ephrata and New Cumberland. I've done a couple in New Cumberland, New Bloomfield, which I just did a case in the podcast in New Bloomfield. I had the young son on there talking about his experiences in that home, which I'm going to do a New Bloomfield revisited podcast with some different people on that experienced the phenomena, and actually the girl who passed away, I'm going to try to have her sister on and maybe her father talking about this young lady. But I want to get the permission to get on and talk about their sister and her sister and the father's daughter. But you know, that was one. New Bloomfield was definitely one of the cases that stand out to me. Minersville. We're going to be going back to Minersville here in the future, but we're going back to Newcastle. That was a very, very intriguing case that's still going on to this day. But Ephrata was another one. Ephrata, that's an ongoing case for us. We've been there since 2011, 2010, 2011. And, man, what a creepy house. And it's not like it's an old house. It's a new house. So, there are new houses that have phenomena. And sometimes it's not the house itself. It's an individual. Like I've always said, it's an individual that's creating the phenomena. And I think in this case, there's something to do with the land, and there's something to do with the individuals that live in the home. Some of the phenomena I experienced in there was quite weird and almost biblical at some points. I was in the kitchen at one point and with an investigator, and I heard a voice say, I thirst. I was like, I thirst. And I was like, did you say something like you're thirsty or something? And he's like, no. He's like, started laughing. He's like, no, why would I say that? I'm like, I don't know. We're in the kitchen. It says, I thirst. Like, and anybody who's read the Bible, Jesus said that on the cross before he died. He said, I thirst. And then he dies. And this is what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like Jesus, but it's kind of mocking this quote from Jesus, which was, it was so weird. And that's where we captured the black mass in this location as well on video. But man, the shit that happened in this house was crazy as well. We've seen light anomalies that were different colors, like red and green. Really, really weird things. We seen them shooting across the ceiling, zipping up into the ceiling. Disembodied voices. I got touched twice in that house. One time where we captured the black mass, I was sitting in the closet where we captured it, and something poked me in the back. I jumped up out of the chair. I'm like, what the hell was that? So then that same night, I'm across the room in the corner, and something pulls on my shorts really hard. And I'm like, did you pull on my shorts? And a voice responds, and it says, you would know. And I didn't hear it out loud, but I caught it on a recorder. I'm like, did you pull on my shorts? And you hear a voice say, you would know. Like, super creepy. It's like, you would know. I'm like, oh, wow. It was super, super creepy. And the things that just happened in the home, I mean, the family were seeing this tall figure, 7 foot tall, in the rooms with their kids. And it'd be from like floor to ceiling, tall, black, red eyes, glowing red eyes. And she said it almost looked like a Bigfoot or something. She said it had like hair on it, like this long black hair. She said, all I can describe is it looked like Bigfoot, because she had slept in her son was afraid to sleep in his room. So she said, well, I'm going to sleep in here with him to see what's going on. So she's sleeping in her room, and she wakes up around 3 o'clock in the morning. And again, with the 3 o'clock in the morning stuff, I don't understand why everything happens at 3 in the morning, but it does. There are weird things that happen at 3:30 in the morning. A lot of people say different things. It's the mocking of the Holy Trinity and this, that, or the other. This, that, and the third. I really don't know. You know what I mean? What the significance is of 3 in paranormal. I know it's scientific. 3 is a big number in science and stuff like that. So I really don't know. Everybody has an opinion on it. Is it fact? You can't say it's fact because we don't understand the stuff. But people always have an opinion, and they think that that's law because 3 knocks, 3 scratches, 3 in the morning, that's all demonic. Says who? I've had all kinds of weird stuff happen at 3. Doesn't mean it's a demon. You're going to hear some of these paranormal people saying it's demons, and everybody wants things to be a demon because it sells. People want to sell some kind of bullshit, that, 3 is, demons. It's the mocking of the Holy Trinity, and I just don't fall into that crap. I don't believe in it like that. I do believe there are things out here that aren't nice. Are they demonic? It's possible. Like I've talked to Bill about it, and Bill's certain that they're demons. I've never experienced that kind of stuff. I've experienced some negative things, and Bill, like I said, Bill Bean was on a case with me with some negative things, but I'm still not calling it a demon because he might call it a demon, but for me, I don't know what it is. I know it's not nice, but is it demonic? I don't know. I've never seen anything like that, so for me to say that something's demonic, I can't do it. You know what I mean? It's just, I can't do it. It's not my nature to do it. Some people might just jump out there out in the street like that and say it's demonic, but that's one thing I'm not going to do. Now, Bill's experienced demonic things. That's what he does in his ministry. He's an exorcist, and I've never experienced it. In a way, I want to experience it as a paranormal investigator because that's what we do. We're there to experience this phenomena. But then there's other things that I'm kind of glad I haven't experienced it because it's quite scary from what I've read and what I've heard from Bill and other people in clergy that this phenomena is quite scary. And kind of glad I haven't experienced it, but I have experienced some really negative things in homes that I can't explain, but like I said, I'm not going to say it's demonic. And in the Ephrata case is one of them. That case is really weird. It's touched the family members. It's smacked them. It's pushed them down the stairs. Tells them to get out. Tells them to get out of their own home. I mean, what the hell is this thing? You know what I mean? Is it demonic? Is it negative? I definitely think it's not nice. But to say it's demonic, I really don't know. But some of the things that have happened in there, like biblical wise, like saying I thirst and shadows and these weird things with glowing red eyes, and they've seen it on more than one occasion. It even cut the baby monitors. They had baby monitors in the room with the cameras, and they would wake up and the wires would be cut. Like how not? I mean, freshly, like clean cut, like with almost a pair of scissors or a knife. And I witnessed this. They had one in there, and the camera went out, and you go back there, and the wires just sliced off like someone sliced it with a knife. It was unbelievable. And they still live in that house, and they're still experiencing phenomena. She has been pushed down the stairs. She's been shoved. More than one occasion, she called me as I was working out of town. I work out of town a lot. I did. And she called me hysterical that something told her to get out, and it pushed her down the stairs, and she fell down the stairs. Thank God she wasn't injured. She could have been killed. You could break your neck falling down the stairs. It's easy to do. And thank God she wasn't hurt, but she was very, very upset. And I was like, I wish I could help you, but I was just so many hours away. I was like, there's no way. By the time I get there, I was 5 hours away at my work, and I'm like, I can't leave my work and then come there. That's what sucks about doing this too, is, we have a day job. So when people experience some really frightening phenomena, we can't just drop what we're doing because of our job. You know what I mean? Our job is we have to make money for our family, even though we're trying to help families. And it's so frustrating because you'll get a case where someone's experiencing phenomena, but you're working and you can't drop what you're doing to go and help them. And it sucks. It sucks because I just want to drop what I'm doing and go there immediately. And I can't because I have to make money, so that sucks. And I really like helping people and trying to figure out this phenomena. Just them knowing that there's something there helps them greatly. It really does. And I tell you what, the more I do this, the more I really love doing it. Like I said, I did stop doing it for a couple years, and I talked to a guy I got in touch with named Robert, and Robert Brandt, and just talking to him, I got back into it, and I tell you, he got me kind of back into doing it. I wasn't going to do it at all until I talked to him, and big shout out to him. And but yeah, he did get me back into paranormal investigating, and I'm not going to take that away from anybody. He did get me back into it, and now I'm back into it stronger than ever. But I'm glad because I had actually, a paranormal event happened to us, and I stopped. I stopped doing it. I couldn't deal with what happened. A young girl died, and I couldn't really deal with what happened. I just didn't want to accept the fact that this girl died on our watch, and maybe it wasn't our fault, but I just felt like we weren't helping, and that's a big thing, if something like that happens, no one ever wants that to happen, and it happened, and I never thought it would happen, but it did, and like I said, it's been a big part of my life since that happened, and I still talk with that family, and they still have paranormal phenomena, and we're still investigating their home. They still having phenomena even after their daughter's passing, which it just happened this month. She passed away in this month here in March, and I don't know. I'll always remember this month and the date she passed away, and the day we got the information that she had passed away. I was it's unbelievable, and it's just something that never goes away. You're never gonna forget about it, and I know the family is they're devastated because she was such a lovely young girl, and she was only 14, and she'd be an adult right now if she was still here. And it's a sad thing to see a young girl lose her life, and it's just a devastating thing. And I know as a parent myself, I give the family a lot of praise because that's a difficult thing to go through. Probably the most difficult thing in your whole life you're ever going to experience is losing a child. I can't imagine it. It still affects me to this day. And I actually just talked to them this morning. I talked to the wife, and we're going to be going back there in April because they are experiencing more phenomena, and trying to come up with an answer is just so difficult. And we try the best we can to come up with answers, and it always leads back to this road to nowhere. You know what I mean? Like paranormal phenomena is a road to nowhere. It's like there's no answer to it, and we're trying to get an answer, but the best thing we can do is validate the claims of activity, let them know, yes, you are experiencing a phenomena. Yes, we did record it, and we are going to be here for you no matter what. We're not going to walk away. I mean, we could try do blessings and stuff like that, but I just don't think they're going to work. They've never worked in any case I've ever done, and I don't know. It's a difficult thing. It really is. I don't know. It's just a difficult thing. I'm at a place in my life now where, I'm just glad I'm here every day. And, it's just a humbling thing, when you're in a case and someone passes away. And it's just a humbling thing. And it's a life-changing event, not only for you, but for the client, your team. I know it's changed Carl, and a lot of weird things have happened to us behind that case. And, Carl could attest to that because he's had a lot of weird things happen in his house since that case, and they hear this thing calling Carl's name a lot in the attic, and that's where the daughter had passed away in the attic. A lot of phenomena happened in the attic and on the second floor, and they hear what sounds like something calling Carl's name, and Carl has been experiencing weird things in his home since we've done this case, and he seems to think that something has been following him since we did that case. And I don't doubt it. I really don't doubt it. I mean, there's so many weird things behind this case. And it's one of the most interesting cases we've done to date. and it's still ongoing. And I think it's always going to be ongoing. I don't think there's going to ever be a true answer to what's going on in this house. And it's nuts. It's really nuts. I could keep rambling on for hours and hours, but about some of the stuff, and I will talk more about some of the things that I have had happen to me in cases, and I'm going to have more people on, and I'm going to have the people from Ghost on up in Canada with Dan, and they're going to come on the podcast and talk about their paranormal experiences up there in Canada, which is cool. You know, I'm definitely reaching out to more people all over the world, the country, and I'm going to have them on the podcast talking about their own paranormal experiences. So definitely stay tuned with me, folks, and keep downloading the podcast. Like I said, I don't make any money off of this, and I'm not like these people that are monetizing their podcasts and making money. I'm doing this because I'm trying to help people, trying to educate people, and I like people to hear the experiences that I've experienced, my clients have experienced, and hear their stories too. Like, I like to get them on here. A lot of them don't like to come on the podcast, so I tell their story myself. I won't use their name, but I'll tell the story myself because they don't want to be on the podcast and talking about their experiences. So I'll get their permission and talk about their case, but I won't use their name. But I think their story needs to be told. It's a story that needs to be told. There's definitely, you know, all hauntings are kind of similar, but there's a story behind the haunting. There is always a story behind the haunting of why it's happening. Maybe it's a particular individual. Maybe it's a home. Sometimes it's a home and, you know, it's old and things have happened and people have died. And but sometimes it's a person that's creating the phenomena. And maybe there is activity in the home, but when they get into that location, you know, they're kind of like a beacon to paranormal activity, and things increase and things happen. And it's unexplainable. It really is. It really is. But I'm going to wrap this up for this morning, folks. This is morning time where I'm at right now. But I'm going to wrap it up, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, weekend, night, wherever it is, wherever you're at. I hope you're enjoying it. Please continue to listen to the Paranormal Journal podcast. Download, like, love, share. Tell everybody about the podcast. Keep coming back, because I enjoy all of you listening to my content, listening to my experiences, my clients' experiences. And like I said, I'm always going to give it to you truthfully. These things happen. I'm going to give it to you straight all the time. So thanks for tuning in with me today, folks. I'll see you on the flip side. Matter of fact, I'll see you on the other side.
Well, I've been asking questions all of my life, but every answer I get, none of them I ever like, no. I know we all living up on borrowed time, but it keep me up late at night and got me wondering why. Oh, I'm just looking for a reason. I don't need something to believe in. I just want life to have meaning, so I ain't wasting all my time. So will I see you on the other side? Hey, where do we go when we die? Oh, yeah, they get you with a smile. Hey, where do we go when we die? See you on the other side. Hey, where do we go when we die? Oh, yeah, they get you with a smile. Hey, where do we go when we die? What would you do with one more day? One last time before it all goes away? Where would you go? Yeah, who would you see? How would you make your last memories? Are you loving that life you've been living? Have you been taking more than you've been giving? You wanna grow the love, you gotta plant the seed. If you wanna leave that legacy,